What if I told you the most dangerous person in the room is the one who smiles the most? They're not loud. They don't show off. They don't shout for power. They sit quietly, watching, calculating, waiting. And when the moment is right, they strike with such precision, such cold brilliance, that by the time you realize what just happened, they're already 2 steps ahead. That's not just a villain in a movie. That's a very real personality type. And no one described it better than a man from the 1500s, a man who wasn't a king, wasn't a soldier, wasn't even rich. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and what he saw, what he warned us about, is still running the world today. In this video, I'm going to reveal the full, uncensored truth about the most cunning and cynical personality type ever written, through the eyes of Machiavelli. This isn't just history, it's a mirror. And once you understand this personality, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Let's clear something up first. Machiavelli wasn't evil. He wasn't some psychopath teaching people how to be monsters. That's a lie that's been told for centuries. He was a man who observed reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. He worked in the brutal politics of Renaissance Italy. Imagine Game of Thrones, but with more backstabbing and less dragons. Cities were constantly at war, rulers were overthrown overnight, and alliances were made and broken with a handshake and a hidden dagger. Machiavelli saw all of it, and when he lost his job, was tortured and exiled, he decided to write down everything he'd learned about how power really works. The result? A little book called The Prince. It wasn't a guide for dictators. It was a survival manual for anyone in a world where people lie, cheat, and manipulate their way to the top. And hidden inside this book is a chillingly accurate description of one personality type, the one we're talking about today. Psychologists today call it the Machiavellian personality, but Machiavelli didn't give it that name. We did, because what he described was so cold, so calculating, so brilliant, that it became a blueprint. So what is this personality? Let me paint a picture. Imagine someone who never lets emotions cloud their judgment, someone who sees human behavior like a chessboard. Every move, every weakness, every habit is something they study, not because they care, but because it gives them leverage. They lie without blinking, but only when it serves a purpose. They flatter you, not because they like you, but because it opens a door. They believe morality is a tool, useful when it works, disposable when it doesn't. They don't crave power for fun. They crave it because it's the only thing that matters. Machiavelli described this personality perfectly. A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. Translation: if you're the only honest person in a room full of liars, you're going to get eaten alive. Let's break it down. What makes this person so effective and so dangerous? 1. Extreme pragmatism. They don't care about what's right or wrong. They care about what works. If telling the truth gets them what they want, they'll do it. If lying works better, they'll lie. It's that simple. To them, the world isn't about ideals. It's about results. 2. Charm as a weapon. They can be incredibly charming. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind. The subtle, intelligent kind that makes you feel like they see something special in you. But don't get fooled. That charm is always calculated. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." 3. Mastery of deception. They don't lie all the time. That would be too obvious. Instead, they mix truth and lies so well, even they could pass a polygraph, and they rarely get caught. 4th, strategic empathy. Yes, they can show empathy, but it's not real empathy. It's the ability to understand how you feel, so they can use it. They'll say the right things, do the right things, but not because they care, because it gives them influence. 5. Long-term thinking. They don't just react to situations, they plan 10 moves ahead. They're patient. They'll let you win a few rounds if it means they control the final one. There's a famous line, and though it's often misquoted, the spirit is pure Machiavelli. A young noble once asked a powerful advisor, "Should I be feared or loved?" The advisor paused and said, "Ideally both, but if you can only pick one, be feared." This idea that fear is more reliable than love was straight from Machiavelli's playbook. He wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose." Now let's pause here. He's not saying be cruel. He's saying don't depend on people liking you, because feelings change. Fear is consistent. Think this is just some ancient philosophy? Think again. This personality type is everywhere. In politics, in boardrooms, in influencer culture. The politician who smiles during speeches, but stabs allies behind closed doors. The CEO who inspires loyalty while quietly crushing competition. The social media guru who preaches kindness, but manipulates followers for money. They understand perception. They understand timing. And they understand that most people are too emotional to see what's really happening. That's what makes them dangerous. They don't play by your rules. Now, before you start suspecting everyone in your life is a secret Machiavellian, here's the twist. This personality isn't always evil. Sometimes it's what's necessary. Machiavelli wasn't telling us to become monsters. He was saying, if you want to survive in a world full of monsters, you'd better understand how they think. Think about revolutionaries. Think about spies. Think about whistleblowers. Sometimes, to outplay a corrupt system, you have to use its tools. That's the double-edged sword of this personality. And today, we're still in the same game. Only now, the tools have changed. Back then, it was swords and spies. Today, it's algorithms and followers. But the principles? Exactly the same. Understand perception, control narrative, use appearances, win trust, exploit emotion, and stay one step ahead. And here's the final punch. Most of the people running the world, they're not the loudest or the kindest. They're the ones Machiavelli described 500 years ago. Don't try to become a Machiavellian. That's not the point. The point is awareness. Because when you understand how this personality works, how it manipulates, how it survives, you're no longer blind. You can spot the flattery, see the manipulation, resist the bait, and maybe, just maybe, you can protect your own soul in a world that often rewards the opposite. Machiavelli didn't create monsters. He studied them. He gave us the blueprint, not to follow it, but to recognize it. Because the most dangerous thing isn't the cunning personality in the shadows. It's not knowing they're there. Now you do. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, you can watch this video on the screen.